Hello everyone, good morning, and in today's session of ABAP ritual we are going to start with shared memory in ABAP, where we'll be looking into the important question from the shared memory. There we will be looking for SAP memory and ABAP memory. We will see that what's the SAP memory and what is the ABAP memory. So this is the one question which is going to be asked very frequently. We'll go and see that one. Before that, let's have the recap of previous session. So here we have seen a study that what's the difference between kernel body and classical body. Already we have seen debugging technique. Yesterday we have discussed in detail the questions related with debugging, like dynamic breakpoint, then layer aware debugging, right? So however, we also have the conditional breakpoint, watch point, right? So we should know like how to use the conditional breakpoint. However, conditional breakpoint is not very frequently used, but the watch point is very frequently used. So we should know like how to use the watch point. From that, there can be some interview related question, like if some value is going to be changed, and if you want to watch those value, which tool you are going to use. So the answer should be watch point. So whenever a value of a variable going to get changed, then watch point get triggered. So if the question is, if you want to keep an eye on a value which is going to get changed every time within a loop or something, like somewhere in the flow, and if you want to observe that, if you want to watch that, for that purpose we are having the watch point. So the answer should be the tool for that need to be used as a watch point. BTC table control, right? The CPU parameters very important. Suppose if you have the different resolution of the screen on different system, then how to handle the screen size for the BDC control, or yeah, generally for BDC control, we get BDC table control, not BDC control. BDC table control, we get that issue. So for CPU parameters, hyphen default, right? There one option is there for the hyphen default that we have to mark as a X, and that a screen related issue will be solved. So this also we have discussed in fact earlier. Okay, let me delete this one. We have already discussed in the previous session. It seems someone asked in last session and I have written. So not in this ABAP ritual actually, my previous ABAP interview questions answer series. Okay, fine. So here we have come now, and this is our last slides. And here you can see that one program is there for the session method to automate. So this is the complete program, right? This is the function module we have to call, and then this is the complete program. It is there. I will put this program in the group, or it's already there, this PPT with you. You can go and check how to automate the BDC session. That means you don't have to go manually into SM35 and you will have to execute the BDC session, right? You can execute automatically. Okay, or this particular program I have explained in my ABAP course that you can subscribe, and there you can learn. In YouTube it will not be there. Fine. So here we are having the question, what is ABAP memory and SAP memory? So who would like to give this answer? What is ABAP memory and what is SAP memory? So first tell me about the ABAP memory, and then we will go and discuss about the SAP memory, and then we will see the differences. So who would like to tell the difference? If you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute yourself, or just raise your hand. I will unmute you and you can start speaking about the SAP memory. or if you want to write it over here, just write down. Very important question, very frequently asked question. What's the difference between SAP memory and you know ABAP memories? So Satya is writing over here restricted to program session. So ABAP memory is restricted to program session. Wonderful. Yes, it's restricted to its scope is within the program session. So suppose if you have one session, and in the one session you have the multiple programs submitted, right? You called one program over here. So for example, you can see here that this is one program, and inside this program one you have submit another program two. So when you are going to run the program one, the session, the internal session is going to be only one, but the submitted program, you can see that this is the another program, right? So when you are going to submit the another program, correct, it is inside the same session, but another program is there. And in this program, suppose if you want to use the variable of program one, right? Or suppose if you want to use the value of variable of program 2 inside the program 1, then we can use the ABAP memory. So in a single session, if you're going to have the multiple program, and if you want to so here if you have the program, you cannot get back the data directly, right? Because here there is no parameter. You can just submit via the selection screen. So submitting option is there, but you cannot get back the value, right? So to get back the value from the program to, we can first export the whatever value we want to get back in program one. First we can export in a memory, and then we can again import from the memory. So this export to memory and import to memory, this is known as the ABAP memory. Okay, this is known as the ABAP memory. So just a second. Yeah, so this is known as actually ABAP memory. So you understood in the single session. So this is going to be your single session. So this is actually the single session. Okay. Fine. Now in the about the SAP memory. Yeah, Balu is telling SAP memory using get set parameter ABAP memory. That's fine. Yeah. Now just tell about the SAP memory. What is SAP memory and when it will be used? So first you tell what is SAP memory. Okay. So try to explain about the SAP memory. Yeah, anyone is willing to tell? Yeah, Stalin, you can go ahead and tell if you want to tell. Okay, fine. In the chat box, you can just write it over here. A live till logon session. Okay, no, this is the SAP memory. ABAP memory will be alive till logon session. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you are telling about the logon session. Yes, that's perfect. Alive till logon session. That's correct. Yes. Yeah. So this is right. Alive till logon session. That's correct. So here, SAP memory. Let's try to understand the SAP memory. Suppose if you have executed this program and this program has finished, this program has been completed. So if your program has been completed, right, and you want to use some of the parameters, so that we so every field is having its own parameter ID if you want to define, right? So parameter ID will be where you can get the parameter ID. Who will tell where you can get the parameter ID? Where we can find the parameter ID? Suppose there is a field on the screen. Let's suppose we have the this field on the screen. So this is the field 1 on the screen, and this field 1 is having one data element, right, associated. Let's DEFIELD1. So this is the data element for this field. So where you can get, the parameter ID for this particular field 1 at domain level? No, not at domain level. Parameter ID will be there at the data element level. Okay, so if you double click on this data element, and if you go to the further characteristic of the data element, you will be able to see the parameter ID over there. Okay, so parameter ID will be there at the data element level, not domain level. Now, when you set the parameter ID, so this should be your, parameter ID. Whatever the parameter ID is there, you can write set parameter ID, and then here field. Okay, field field, and here the value you can give. So some, let's suppose some value you want to put. Okay, so this is obviously, this is, your variable, and in this variable, whatever the value you have, you are putting here in this parameter. Okay, and this parameter must be associated with some data element, right? So wherever that data element has been used in the field, automatically that will be, populated. So how can you populate? Using the get parameter ABC, right? Using the get parameter ABC syntax, you can populate the particular field which is associated with the data element. So what I mean to say over here, let me try to explain a little more over here. So suppose this is your field. Okay, this is your field 1, and it is having some, you have set some value 10, right? And let's suppose this field 1, for this particular field 1, you have or let's mark it as a variable. Okay, gv underscore value 20, and this gv underscore value equal to 20. Here you have written set parameter, right, mat. So for material mat, for matner matnr field, right, you know that mat is the parameter ID. You can go to the data element matner, and inside the further characteristic, you can see for that parameter mat is defined, right? And here, if we're going to write the field, and the field value is gv underscore value, then what will happen in this case, that this 20 will be set to this parameter ID mat. Now, if we're going to call the call transaction mm01, okay, call transaction mm01, then what will happen that, it will call that particular transaction, and their partner will be there on the first screen, correct? So automatically this 20 will go and sit down on the partner. Why? Because inside this mm01, the get parameter code is written. Okay, so this is actually I wanted to share over here. So what I mean to say that, once you set this data element with this value, wherever this data element has been used in the field, right, wherever this data element has been used in this field, and for that particular field, if you're going to use the get parameter ABC, automatically the value for that field is going to be set. So in summarized way, just try to understand, even your first program session is going to be completed, the SAP memory is not going to get released. Okay. So when you are going to log in into your SAP system, it will be there till you will be there login into the system. Okay. So till your login session, this SAP memory is going to be valid. Okay. And then, whenever you are going to open the related transaction and all, automatically value at the data element level is going to get populated. So its a scope is there outside of the session as well. On the other hand, The ABAP memory is having this a scope inside the session, inside the program, right? Inside the session. Here, its scope is outside the session. Okay. Its syntax is set parameter, and here its syntax is import and export, right? Here it is. Here its syntax is set parameter and get parameter. Okay. Here it's import and export. So these are two important points. We have. If you have any question over here, just feel free to discuss, and we'll discuss about the questions. Okay. Any questions if you want to discuss? Okay, so I believe there is no question. Some another questions. Let's see related with this, forms. So we are having a smart forms, right? So
Yeah, Pankaj, I have one question regarding this
yeah,
parameter.
yes, go ahead.
Interview one person is asked me that what is the use of this parameter ID?
What's the use of parameter ID, right?
Yeah, correct. And data element label.
Yes. So that's what, like, suppose if you want to have the call transaction, if you want to, right, if you want to open mm01 transaction with by default material equal to, let's suppose, some material number 100. So you want to automatically open the transaction mm01 or va01 or whatever transaction, right? So this can be one use case. So how you will pass the value. So when you are going to open the mm01 transaction, automatically you want your material number should be filled in the Matner field. So for that purpose you can use the set parameter. Okay, so this is one case. So when you are going to call the transaction, call transaction mm01, automatically it will fill the value in the material number, right, with the help of this set parameter, right? And automatically when you are going to call the this call transaction, there the code is written for the get parameter, it will just populate, right? So is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, okay, good. So just to automate these things, this is going to be useful. Okay, one more question is here. Just write in the public. Okay, session means when you run the program, right? It will create a session, right? It will create a session. So for example, see, when we tell that we are going to start our ABAP ritual session, right? So when we are going to start our ABAP ritual session, we all people here together focus with our mind, get engaged with our mind, we get consent, we uh, start focusing, and our heart and soul gets involved over here, so we get completely busy over here. So similarly, when you run a program, right, what happens that all like the processor, the memory, all right, all these gets occupied. So whenever you run a program, it will create a session, right? It will create a session, and in that session all the resources, all the processor, everything gets involved. So that involvement, that occupancy is known as the session. Okay, is it clear, Ganesh? The session means the session, like when you start any program, it will create a session. Is it clear, Ganesh, or you want me to explain in a different way? So write in the public mode so that other people also will read. Fine, good. So that's the meaning of session. Let's go and see the smart forms. What is this smart forms? So we'll be having the different forms available in the SAP script, smart forms, Adobe forms. SAP script have been a kind of obsolete, but still I have seen in some places that SAP scripts are there and it's being used. But the new development, mostly you will be able to see in the smart form and in Adobe form, right? People nowadays are mostly going to prefer to the Adobe form because of its interactive feature, and you can use the JavaScript also over there, right? So I've created a one very good course on the Adobe form. If you want to subscribe, just let me know, or already I have 8 or 9 video posted on the YouTube. That's completely free. But if you're looking for the full course, let me know. I'm having the full course. I will share, but that is paid. Now, the question related with the smart form, Adobe form, what is the important question, right? So the important question with this for the smart form is why the smart form is client independent, right? So I will ask all the important question and then I will go to the slide. So let me know your answer over here. Why the smart form is client independent? You know that a smart form is client independent, right? But why? What's the reason behind, you know, a smart form is client independent? Just write it over here or unmute your mic and speak, right? Why a smart form is client independent? Yes, Om Prakash has given the answer over here that it generates FM, and you know that FM, that means the function module, right, is the client independent. So when anything is going to be the client independent, right, their root is also going to be the client independent. So here our root is what? Our root is a smart form, and when you activate the smart form, it will generate a function module, and function module is nothing but a code, right? And you know that codes in SAP like reports or function modules or subroutine, right? Any kind of programs is the client independent. The meaning of client independent means if you have a system and in that system there are several clients available, then in all the clients you will be able to look those code, you will be able to see those artifacts, you will be able to see those objects. So here the things what we need to understand over there, that the reason behind why this smart form is, client independent, because when you activate the smart form it generates a FM. Okay, when you activate the smart form it generates a FM right over here. If you understand it clearly, right here, clear. If you understand it clearly, right over here, clear, so that I will go ahead. Good. So you understood, right? When we activate the smart form, it generates the function module. And because the function module is the client independent, that's why it's going to be, that's why the smart form is going to be client independent. Very important question, very, very important question. Another question, what's the difference between a smart form and SAP script? This is also very frequently asked question. What is the difference between, you know, but before going ahead, let me ask one more question. Is SAP script is client dependent or client independent? Is, yeah, Satya is telling client dependent. Very good. Now another question. So understand over here, guys, whoever is fresher over here, put your full attention, right? So SAP script is the client dependent, means it will depend on the client. Means if something, that means if SAP script is visible in 100 number client, it will not visible in the 200 client, because it's a client dependent, right? It's a client dependent. It's a client specific. Okay. So if some SAP script is going to be visible in client number 100, it will not be visible in client number 200. Okay. Now, why SAP script is client dependent? Who will give this answer? Why SAP script is client dependent? Write your answer in the chat box, or feel free to unmute yourself and be participative, and you can speak over here also. It's an open platform where we can discuss. Good. Very good, Teja. Awesome. Yes. See, whenever we create a SAP script, right? Whenever we create a SAP script, it's it generates the text. Okay, it gets saved in form of text, and those texts those texts are saved in STXH and STXL, right? SXTH, no, not SXTH, STXH, no. Just check this one, STXH, I believe, STXH and STXL. So just check this one, okay? So I believe this is the table STXH and STXL, okay? So you can check this one, STXH and STXL. These are the tables where SAP script texts are going to be saved. Okay, these are the tables where SAP script texts are going to be saved. Let me do need to confirm this table, or quickly I will check this table in the Google. So here itself it will be clear. SAP script table name. Okay. So STXH, right? So it's a STXH and STXL, not SXTH and SXTL. Okay. So the here what I have written that is correct. We have just verified STXH and another one is STXL. Okay. So these are, the tables where your texts are going to be saved, and you know that the tables are client dependent, right? Because in all, not all the table, but STXS and STXL, these tables is having the MNDT field, right? MANDT field. If you go and explore the STXS table in SE11 and this STXL table in SE11, there you will see that it is having the MANDT field, and because it is having the MANDT field, that means it's a client dependent, and if it is client dependent, that means your SAP script is also client dependent. So that's the region. Now another question, what's the difference between SAP script and a smart form, right? So from here itself you might, you have already observed that SAP script is a client dependent, right? SAP SAP script here, and here we are having the smart form. So here it's a client independent, and this one is the client dependent, right? This is one. It gets stored in the table called STXH and STXL. Here this smart form does not get stored in any table. Whenever you activate, when you activate a smart form, it generates the what function module, right? It generates the FM. This does not generate any FM, right? So this is the second difference. This gener does not this doesn't generate any FM after activation, right? So SAP script does not generate any FM after activation. This SAP script gets saved into table. This does not get saved into this table. This, that the when we write any code or function module, it gets saved into the cluster table, right? So there will be some cluster table there, it will be saved. So the generated function module, the generated FM will be is saved in some cluster table. Okay, so saved into STXH. This is the three differences we have written, right? So if we tell these three difference, I think this is going to be sufficient. Now, one another question is how to handle the smart form transport. This is very important question. Okay, this is one question is here from Satya. Possible to have a smart form without main window? Okay, Good. This is also one very important question. All right. This is also very important question. Is it possible to have a smartphone without main window? Who will give this answer? Is it possible to have a smartphone without main window? Balu is telling yes. Any other people? Any other people? Harkesh, Ravi. Okay. And now another question. Is it possible to have a SAP script without main window? Yes. So in SAP script, we must have a main window, right? In SAP script, we must have a main window. But let me do one thing. Here I will show you. Here, uh, just a second. Give me a moment. I'm opening the smart form transaction over here. And I just want to, clarify over here one thing. Or maybe later I will discuss. It will take some time. Okay, so that's the answer over here. And now, any other question over here? How many maximum window can be created in a smart form? Who will give this answer? How many maximum a window can be created in one smart form, like in a single page of a smart form? How many maximum window you can create it? Balu is telling only one main window. Yes, correct. Yeah, that's perfect. And in SAP script, how many maximum window you can create? Yeah, good. So here you have given the answer. Very good. So now the another very important question, that how to manage the transport of a smart from one system to another system. Because what will happen that when you are when the smart form is going to get activate. Let me try to tell you the scenario over here. So suppose this is one FM we have, right? This is one smartphone, a smartphone, a smart form. So a smartphone is Z test smartphone. This is my smartphone, and this is there in the development system. This is here in the development system. And when you have activated this smart form, it has generated one function module over here. Let's suppose the function module here is FM001. Let's suppose this is your function module, right? Slash FM001, right? So generally your function module name may start with slash, right? And then some namespace and then with some number. So in the current system, in development system, when you are going to activate this smart form, your function module is going to get generate, right? And this function module you are calling over here in this report. So suppose if you have a driver program, so this I'm talking about in the development. Okay, so in development you have a driver program which you are going to call this particular function module, okay, from this driver program. So when you are going to call this particular a smart form using this function module, so let's suppose here call FM, and here you have FM001, right? So what will happen that when you will move this smart form, right, to this quality system and then to the production system, what problem you are going to face? What problem you are going to face? Who will give this answer? When you are going to move your your this particular code of a smartphone and this driver program from here from development to right from development to quality, what is the problem you are going to face it over here? Who will tell this answer? Who will tell this answer? What problem we are going to face? FMA can be changed. Yes, Balu is 100% right. This FM, so here what will happen? That when you are going to send this smart form from this development to quality system, again this smart form is going to get activate in quality system, right? That is how it happens whenever we send a report from one system to another system, or whenever we send any source code from one system to another system, right? First, the original artifacts gets activated, right? Whenever we send a class, the class source code gets activated over there. So first it goes into the raw format, and there again it gets activated. So this smart form is going to be activated over here in the quality system. And again, when it will get activated, it will generate its function module based upon the number range available over here. So let us suppose here the number range available after 20. So it will be 21, right? And here you are calling this, the driver program you are calling over here is like this, right? You have hard coded the function module in the driver program call FM, right? Then what will happen here? This FM is not present, right? And if it is present, that may be the different FM, correct? That may be the different FM, FM 001. And what you would like to call? You would like to call this a smart form, not the other smart form. So there will be problem, right? There will be problem. Then how to handle this scenario? Then how to handle this scenario? Who will tell? Give your answer here in the chat box. Good, very good. Satya. Awesome. Fantastic. Superb. So SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name is the function module which you will have to use it over here, right? Freshers, please give attention over here. Call, you know, so call this SSF, you know, SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name. Okay. And exporting, in exporting parameter, you'll have to pass this particular smart form name. So there will be a parameter called form, I believe. Okay. In this form, you'll have to pass this smart form name, JTest SF. So if you'll pass this form name over here, in return, it will give you the corresponding, it will return the corresponding FM name. Okay. So here you will just store this FM name. Okay. You have to store the FM name in a variable, and you call this particular variable over here. Okay. Instead of hard coding, you will have to follow this approach. So this is going to be beneficial for you. Why it's beneficial? Because here again this code will come, the driver program will come in this quality system. It will check this form, and corresponding to this form, whatever the function module is there, it will just go and give it over here in this lv underscore fm now. And by this way, you can be able to avoid, you will be able to overcome the existing problem. So existing, when you will be having the hard coded function module, it was a problem, right? But when you will be having, you are going to use this particular function module, it's going to give you the current function module available over here, right, in this quality system. And this current function module you are going to use call under the call fm, right? So is it clear for everyone? Is it clear? Just write over here super clear if it is clear for you, because this is very important question, very frequently asked, very important question. If it's clear, right over here super clear in the chat box, and I will go ahead. Very good. Very good. Awesome. So you understood now. So here, what you have to remember, okay, here, what you will have to remember that, you know, in the interview, you will have to remember this function module. If you tell to the interviewer SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name, he will be happy. He will understand that, you know the concept. This is the keyword while answering the answer of this particular question. So the question will be like, how to handle the transport of a smartphone from one system to another system along with driver program. So your answer should be, we have to use the function module SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name in order to avoid, the problem in the driver program to call you know the exact function module corresponding to the smartphone. So just remember this one, SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name, and you know your 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 journey of interview will be easy. That will be smooth. This is important. Remember this. Okay, SSF underscore function underscore module. The same problem happens with the Adobe form, isn't it? How many of you are agree with me? The same problem happens with the Adobe form. How many of you agree with me right here in the chat box? Me. Is the same problem happens, the problem over here in the smart form, it is happening. Is it the same problem there in the Adobe form? Yes. Awesome. Yes. The same problem is there in the Adobe form. What's the solution over there? Which function module? The solution is nothing but the function module. But what is the name of that function module? Who will tell? Who will tell the name of the function module? Just write over here in the chat box. What's the, yeah, awesome, Vishal. FP underscore function underscore module underscore name. FP underscore function underscore module underscore name. So instead of SSF function underscore module underscore name, you have to write FP underscore function underscore module underscore name in the Adobe form. Very good. So the same problem happens in the Adobe form, and that we can overcome with that way. Okay. Now we have seen this one, STX. Yeah, here we had written actually. This table is already there. Fine. Now here you can see that what's the difference between a smart form and Adobe form. Okay, so what is the difference? Let's first see the similarity. When you activate the smart form, it will generate the function module. Same happens with the Adobe form, right? When you activate the smart Adobe form, it will also generate a function module, right? It supports the all color format. This also supports all the color formats. So these are some similarity. Let's see the differences. SAP Smart Form is not accepted as a standard worldwide, right? SAP Smart Form is the SAP specific technology, and it's like, it's not accepted as a by the whole world, whereas the Adobe is the standard and it is accepted by the whole world. This does not support the Unicode format, right? Okay, here I have written doubtful, but it is, true that it does not support the Unicode format, whereas Adobe supports the Unicode format. It supports everything. Okay, all the language of the world is supported by the Adobe form, whereas, a smart form does not support all the language of the world. So this is another difference. ABAP code can be written in a smart form itself, right? So from ABAP perspective, so whenever we create a smart form in a smart form itself, we can write the program logic and all. Here, design and ABAP logic both are different artifacts. So when you have to write the ABAP logic, where you write the ABAP logic in the Adobe form, who will tell? Where we write the ABAP logic in the Adobe form, who will give this answer, right? Where we write the ABAP logic in the Adobe form. in interface, right? We write in the interface. So the ABAP logic will be there in the interface section, whereas the design will be there at the Adobe form layer, right? So, but in a smart form, everything is going to be there in the same place. In the smart form itself, you can write the logic and all. It does not support the JavaScript, does not, a smart form does not support the JavaScript. This supports the JavaScript, right? Adobe form supports the JavaScript and form calc. Both the scripting language will be supported by the Adobe form. Script code and form calc both. It doesn't support any JavaScript or form calc, any kind of scripting language. It doesn't support. Collaboration or interaction is not possible in smart forms, right? So if you want to have the interactive Adobe form, right? Interactive forms. So suppose if you want to validate the form at form level itself, right? So that is not possible at the form level, correct? So collaboration and interaction. Suppose you can't get the interactive feature in a smart form, whereas in you can get the interactive feature on Adobe form because here you have the JavaScript. It does support the JavaScript, right? T code is smart forms for the smart form. Here SAP is the T code. Here we use the SSF underscore function underscore module underscore name. Just we have seen to have to avoid the transport issue. And here we use the AP underscore function module underscore name. Okay, right. Table templates are available. Here you have some table templates and all the smart form. Here you don't have such templates. So remember this one. Okay, this is the same what we have. So with this, we are done with the, uh, ABAP questions and answer series, right? And from tomorrow onwards, we are going to start with the Oops ABAP. And then after the Oops ABAP, we'll be starting with ABAP on HANA or ALE doc. Let's see. First, we'll complete the Oops ABAP and then we'll go for, you know, ABAP on HANA. So uh, this is the agenda for tomorrow, and today we have the interview. So just go and give the interview, register for the interview over here and give the interview. Take the interview 10 minutes minimum. If you are going to give, you are going to help yourself mostly, so only the learning is not important. If you're going to share the knowledge, if you're going to ask the question, it's going to help you to remember the concept for longer. So participate in this interview and fill this form, and then I will assign the people. So name, you'll have to write the name, and sorry, you'll have to write the name over here. Today is the 6th January. So write the name, and then you'll have to write your mobile number, and then you'll have to write your ABAP experience. Okay, so you'll have to fill this one, and once you assigned with the candidate to whom you will have to take the interview, you have to be professional, and you have to be in the tune like you are going to call from some Accenture or from Infosys or from some SAP Labs, from some big organization. So you have to tell something like that. You are calling from SAP Labs or Infosys or Accenture, and today your interview has been scheduled, and is it right time to have the interview? And then you will have to start. First, you'll have to ask the introduction, some 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then you will start asking the question from this PPT, or you can ask your question as well. There is no defined rule, but take the interview, that is important. So I'm going to put the link over here in the chat box. Yeah, Teja, you can get the detail about the Adobe form. Go to the YouTube. I will share that link, on the YouTube. I have discussed in very much detail about the Adobe form. You go and check here. It is not possible to discuss in that much detail, right? As of now, please fill this form, and then I will assign with the, you know, uh, candidate, and you will start taking the interview. If you can give 10 minutes over here, it will be a great help for yourself. You are going to help yourself. So now, so when you take the interview, you learn a lot many things. So be participative and take the interview, give the interview. So here we have the Satya and Vishal. Vishal vishal you please take the interview of Satya. Okay, Vishal is going to take the interview of Satya. Be professional and have the feeling like having the interview. So Vishal, you please start taking the interview of Satya. So here Vishal is going to take the interview of Satya, and after interview, please share the you know feedback in the WhatsApp group. Here we are having the Harkesh and then a Venkat. Fine. So anyone else are interested in this interview process, please fill it fast. Okay. So now Om is going to take the interview of Harkesh. So Om, please take the interview of Harkesh. So Om will be calling from WhatsApp number. So Om, please call to Harkesh on his WhatsApp number. And here Venkat, you please take interview of Sanchari. Okay. So here the numbers are getting displayed. Here you can start taking the interview, and you can start leaving from here. Once your interview is done, you can just uh, inform the group about the feedback, and interview is done. Okay, so I believe it is done now, and if someone is still interested, feel free to fill this form and I will assign, or if someone is not there, I will take your interview. Okay, so if you are interested, here we are having the 14 people. I don't know why you people are not interested in this interview process. This is going to be very beneficial. Even see, if you don't know, and if you are feeling like that, it's difficult for you to take the interview, it's simple, right? You have to open the PPT, and from here you have to read the question, right? You have to read the question. There are so many questions are there. Just you have to read the question, and you have to realize, like, you have to understand if they are giving the answer correctly or not. So from here you can just see, and if you are fresher, just write it over there. Some experienced people will take your interview, or if no one will be there, I will take your interview, right? So you have to just keep open the PPT, and you will have to ask from that, right? So it's simple, correct? So, here we are having the 12, now 12 people we are having. So if you are here, just fill the form now, right? And if you are not willing to have the interview, you can just leave from here, so that I will understand, okay, you are not interested, right? So yeah, so you can just leave. If you don't have time, or you are not interested, you can just leave, so that I will get clear information that you are not interested. So very good. At least we are having the 7 people who are interested. So very good, actually. Very good. Awesome. So you keep on doing these things. Other people, other people, other people. Okay, fine. Fine then. Let's stop our session over here, and then we'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Okay, bye, Pankaj.
Bye.
Talk
Bye
tomorrow.
bye.